Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Dakota and here we are discussing a variety of different topics, and we have some meditations and we have some channelings that I occasionally do if I feel like it, and sometimes I just talk about topics when I feel like it, such as today. And today's topic is gender wars. Oh my god, a lot of thoughts. Okay, my first instinct is that I'm like, as if we don't have enough wars already. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing trying to prove something to someone? You know, trying to prove something about us as women to men, and men trying to prove something to women as men. And it's also complicated because we actually do still need relationships and oh my god. Honestly, I just think about it and I just get lost instantly. And there's so much confusion, I guess, and so much loss in how to navigate like current societal climate. It feels like men on one hand are so, passive and become so like accustomed to this not knowing what they're supposed to do and not knowing if they should open the door or not. That they're just like, well, I'm just gonna exist here next to you, and which is a feminine polarity, I'm supposed to exist next to you, and not you're supposed to exist next to me. But this is what it feels like. It feels like, men are so deeply angry and confused and resentful themselves, and yet they cannot speak up because they're instantly canceled by society. They cannot just say that, I hate women, or, you try and find like a solution for themselves because they're instantly, being shamed and laughed at, and thus, irritate, and all these, extremist ideologies, and women are, well, I guess. Oh my god, I as a woman, I feel like I have to do everything, and I hate it, and I know a lot of women do, and a lot of women are waking up to this idea that they hate the fact that they have to do everything. You have to lead on a date, and you have to initiate and all of that, and not to mention, I guess, well, the independent girl boss ideology, which is already kind of dying off. But we have been just in the past decades just bred and led into this, I don't even know how to fucking call it, honestly, like hyper responsibility, something like that, and which is a flip in polarities about feminine and masculine. And I struggle with this myself too, because, well, single life with chronic pain does demand a lot of hyper responsibility. But when it comes to dating and creating relationships, I feel like there's just growing misunderstanding, and I see these like extreme, polarities of like women being like, fuck all men, and men being like, fuck all women. And it's honestly, it just makes me so sad, because I feel like we could actually, we could just like talk to each other, right? I mean, it sounds easier than it is done. And you know what gets me? What gets me is the fact that we're approaching this. We are like approaching this from such a like hurt way. Like we're still like very kind of stuck in this blaming mentality of just blaming the other gender. I mean, well, for me, I just blame the world. But speaking of genders, we are stuck in this kind of women, suck, or men suck. And, well, I just kind of did the same thing, but kind of on both sides, so I blame the world, as I said. And it makes things so complicated because we are operating like from within our pain. Like we had carried this pain for generations upon generations, right? And now with everything polarizing, it's like it feels like there's nowhere for it to go other than just out and on someone, and trying to explain everything that happened to us, right? Men and women, and why things are the way they are, and who the fuck misled us, who didn't teach us how to properly be a masculine man and be a masculine woman. And don't mistake it, like, don't put it into your old fucking boxes, because I don't mean it in a traditional way. No, I mean energy way, where it feels like it, and feeling can look in variety, thousands, billions of different ways. It doesn't have to be like a traditional looking roles. And so we are operating very much from our pain, just kind of stumbling along, trying to, be who we intrinsically are in a world that is literally pushing the opposite, in a society that is pushing the opposite expression, that is trying to, emasculate men and make men weaker, make men fear, their capacity to, capacity for violence, for example, make women fear, being receptive and being not controlling, and trying and allowing oneself to kind of rest and be as as they are in any moment. It's like we're doing such an opposite, and I feel like this is actually just adding to our frustration, because and then we're doing the opposite. It's adding to our frustration, and then we're just taking out that frustration onto the other gender, and just polarizing further, and creating these more extreme ideologies. What gets me is that we are, as genders, right, we are starting to employ, like, traditionally the other gender's strategies, which don't work for us, like masculine strategies do not work for women, or at least it's harder, and feminine strategies do not work for men. And this is what majority of men are starting to do right now, is just employing feminine strategies of just like, passivity, receptivity. I'll just be receptive to whatever, the woman decides, because I am so tired of being treated as, useless and unwanted, and I don't know what my place is here. And on women's side, it's like hyper responsibilities. I have to take care of everything. My family, myself, all my needs, all by myself, alone, and I can do it because I'm a strong, independent woman. Oh God, I hate it. Yeah, someone who lives a fucking strong, independent fucking woman lifestyle. And I feel like what is like most damaging is that we are not actually even honest about like the reality. We're just reacting to each other's reactions. It's like a vicious cycle of reactions, None of us actually are admitting like the truth of, the fact that, we've been hurt by each other, right? That we have been, like, I have been hurt by men. And yet I do need men. I do need men. As a woman, I can even say that. I do need men. And if you're a man watching this, because I know a lot of you guys watch my videos for whatever reason, because I feel like this is more like feminine content, but sure, I do need men. And there are still people out there who do need you, and you are needed. And at the same time, saying that I have been hurt by men, and like as women, this is maybe what you guys don't understand about women, is that as women we have been hurt by, well, not you necessarily, but like our dads, grandfathers, like just men in general. But we still need you. No matter, the pain. And I feel like the same thing applies to the other side. It's just because of how this kind of current ideology is being, cycled and pushed, is we never get to the vulnerability. We never get to the reality of, approaching each person with like, hey, I'm scared of you, but I do need you. It's like, I have been taught how to be a passive following man, but I still, want to be a man. Or like, least of all, like talking about like exactly what we are, struggling with, and saying such things as I hate all women. It's only acceptable in those very extremist, communities like those of Andrew Tate, where everyone gathers and they hate, and it's only there that it's okay. And if you say that somewhere else, well, then you get canceled. I understand the reactions also that other women are having to this, and society in general is having to this, because it's scary, people just saying that they hate things. But also women do that too, and it's just like a butting heads nonstop, saying the same thing, but no one's actually listening. No one's actually listening to the problem. No one's actually listening to the other person's perspective and the other person's vulnerability. Is just shouting our own wounds at each other, which come from reactivity and as a defense, so yeah. So that's my little take on feminine masculine dynamics. And I actually have another video about masculine and feminine and how men feel like women have felt for thousands of generations. And so stay tuned for that next week. Stay unique and have a good day. Bye bye.